Hi, my name is Ken Rasmussen. I wrote the Microbiome prescription site, and in this continuing cascade of improvement, causing options, causing improvement, I'm on to one more thing which I've added today, and it's what is called, or what I call a consensus report. Consensus report, or consensus, usually means you get a variety of opinions and you aggregate them together. And that is exactly what a consensus report is. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to go into 16 example, and I'm going to go down to bioscience here. And what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to use the Explorer for bacteria. And the sample I'm looking at, the person I know has GERDs, which is there, so I click here. And 14 bacteria, 7 are strong, 12 are weak, so that's basically a match for 12 of the 14, so it's a reasonably good one. And what I'm going to do is create example there. I'm going to run with the defaults, people can do it. I'm going to click show suggestion. When we build a consensus report, it happens behind the scenes, so you get the usual thing, but it automatically makes a copy of the data for you to there, except for one site problem. I didn't pick the sample. I'm going to go back. This person also has Crohn's or atypical Crohn's. I'm going to go with the official diagnosis. Hold on for the moment. Now what I have to do is make sure I remember to take it down and pick the right one. And there we have it. And we have 8 items, 5. All of them are matches. So it's a very good match. We're going to create that. We're going to ask for suggestions. You have to remember to ask for suggestions. And there we have the results. Now, I'm not going to bother looking at them. I'm going to go back to 16 samples. And what we will find is, wherever we are, that's Thrive Biome site. Voila, we have consensus suggestions based on 2 analysis. We have 2 analysis. We have all the data from both analysis stored on the database for 24 hours, which allows us to create a consensus report for that. I could look at consensus report right now, and the consensus report has absolute takes, followed by absolute avoids, probable takes, probable avoids, possible takes, possible avoid. Let's explain the differences. The difference is a absolute take. There's absolutely no negative aspect that is known. Again, we're working strictly off what is known. What I suggest you do is you double click this one so it goes from the highest value downwards, so you see what is the best take. And then you double click here to see how often it occurs. In this case, it shows up 2 times. It ends up with a high saturated fat diet, high protein diet, garlic, etc., quercetin. And you can see how often in the 2 analyses we did it showed up. The top 4 items showed up 4 times, which means if you want to be real conservative, those are the 4 you do. Now down here, absolute avoid. Again, click absolute avoid, and then we do count. And what we find is we now see things that should be avoided spelled out, and again the number of analysis that says to avoid it, and then what's the average avoid value, and it goes downwards. And as you can see, we have 137 items on that list, so it's a good number. I'm going to go back one more time, and this time I'm going to look for a compounding issue called mast cell dysfunction, which we really have a ton of relationships for. So we have 49 there, we have 22 and 17, 39, 45, 49. We have grand slam, 100% matches. In other words, this person with mast cell issues, we have a statistical match for every single predicted or discovered bacteria, it's there. And what we do is anything which is strong or very strong is automatically checked here. Things which are weak or very weak are skipped. That's an arbitrary choice. You can include or exclude to your heart's content, whatever you feel want. Except one thing, classic mistake, I forgot to change things. When this 2017 sample was done, there was mast cell issue, so it is correct and good match. That was from Microbiome. Let's go over to 5, and we have 58 and 30. We have 88, 106. We don't have a strong, but for illustration purpose, we'll just walk with it. Oops, but right, that's the right one. Click here, whatever. We have that, and now we can go back to my 16S here. We have not 2. Let's get down there. We have consensus suggesting we have 3 of them. And we can now go in and look at the view consensus. Again, before, same trick as before, double click the take, double click the net, and now I have everything in the correct order. Only one item is common across everything, which is the high saturated fat. Then we have things, a whole bunch of things which are common for 2 of the 3. Down below, again the same thing, double click avoid net, double click here, and we have a whole stack of things which are a common across all 3 of those conditions. And then we go on to the next level. We could do the same thing and double click to get things in the right sequence. And then we see pulpal things, licorice, slippery elm, low fat diet, high fat diet. Again, everything is based on the thing. What you get here is you get the actual numbers. In the suggestion pages, everything gets scaled, so the highest value was 1, and then everything was relatively here. Here we have the raw computed numbers coming out, which are not scaled. So you can see the relative impact between a low-fat diet, which is 791, and a high saturated fat diet was 5.57 versus the next one, low fat is 7.91, but we have 2.28 over here. When we take them apart, that ends up being 5. So both of them are about the same weight, 5.5, 5.7. So whether it should be high fat or low fat, we don't know. Some fat definitely, but the amount we don't know exactly. And then again, we can do everything. If you want to print it, then what you do is very simple. You simply go to each one and say all, and then you go to the next one and say all. And actually, my suggestion is you go to the bottom, work your way up. And all, and all. And what you will find is, if I go in and type the magic word entries, and if we go through, the first group is 43, next group is 127, so we are already at 170, and the next one is 270, 250, never 200, 250, to 455, 455, 480, and 480, 507 items list. 507, which means you're probably going to be going, more information. Key thing is, generally, it defaults to the top 20. If you do the sort, which I indicated here, and just look at the top 20, and then, or look for a particular value above a certain value, and you have that for the cutoff, then you go from there. For example, here, I would probably be tempted to go for 4.5 or higher for the value. The 2.4, again, all these are confidence values, not impact values. Okay, so that's it. If you go back, you can go and, of course, do something like print to a PDF or print it off. As you can see, it's 44 pages if you print it off. You probably prefer to do it as a PDF rather than kill a tree or two. And of course, everything is, you can immediately go over to information about the modifier. So you can go to your heart content. Now, a couple things to remember is these suggestions are looking strictly at the impact on the microbiome, bacteria. Some of these things may also contradict things. For example, the mast cell. Some of the items being specified may actually cause mast cell activation issues. That is part of the necessity of reviewing the suggestions with a medical professional who knows your case history, or yourself going through things carefully. But basically it's sitting there and it is very complete. So you have information, you have the build, it's broken into 6 groups, just similar to what I did with commercial probiotics. Absolute take, absolute avoid, probable take, probable avoid, possible take, possible avoid. And the difference is the average values versus the number of times it got recommended. So it ends up being a 6-way square, and the result is you have classification and you can pick whatever you deem most appropriate. Okay, so that's basically it. That is concurrent thing. And if you want to go back here and to sample, and if you have made a mistake or whatever else, you can just come down here and wherever consensus here, we can do a clear, and it's gone. All of the information has been lost. And if you come back down, you will find that it's no longer there. Down at the bottom, we have done another one where I toss in even more. One thing you want to do is be careful not to overload, just toss everything in, because you would start getting you could start getting difficulties. And the idea is to focus on 1 or 2 things at a time. I did 3 things here and saw the result, and the result looked reasonably interesting. Okay, it's gone, and now there's nothing there. Oops, once it's finished being deleted, yep, it's gone. So I can't look at the view because it's been deleted. That's basically it. The reason I've created it was because with Explorer, often people would have multiple conditions and they are wanting to find something that deals with all of the conditions at one time. This allows you to do it and get a consensus from the different things. Again, we are dealing with incomplete partial knowledge, and this allows us to hopefully get a more accurate list of suggestions of things that will really help or really hurt. Okay, enjoy.